My name is Bethany Riga, and this is my final project titled My Future Goals as an Educational Studies Major. The track that I have chosen to pursue as an Educational Studies major is working with at risk youth and students. I have selected this track because I want to use the tools and knowledge I have learned through my education career to provide these students with a fair shot at education and turning their lives around. I am eager to enter the field and hopefully bring a new perspective into this track and truly make a difference in these students' lives. When analyzing different strengths that I possess, I feel that I have a well balanced list of strengths that will enable me to succeed in this track. To start, I feel that I have a good understanding as to what job I want to pursue after graduation, as well as what type of organization I want to work for. My ability to understand my wants and needs in regards to future employment allows for me to search for and find the right position and organization for me. I consider this a strength because I feel that I will be able to find the right position for me shortly after graduation. I will be able to determine the work environment that is best for me to provide the best possible resources, help, and education to the children I will be working with. Rather than being distracted by a negative work environment or unhappy at my position, I will be able to put all my efforts towards these children and have a positive impact on their development. Another strength that I possess that will enable me to succeed in this track is my ability to navigate my emotions. Every student is different, therefore, every student's background and personal experiences are different. I will never know the true extent of the situations that the students I work with have experienced, and sometimes I will hear stories that are absolutely heartbreaking. Rather than letting these stories affect my emotions, it is important that I have control over these emotions. By having the ability to navigate my emotions, I will be able to acknowledge these emotions but not let them get in the way of my work. By doing this, I will be able to provide my students with the critical tools, skills, and support they need to complete my job to the best of my ability. In Chapter 6, DeSouza writes, intrinsic motivation is a drive that originates from one within oneself. The motivations that I have for pursuing a career in this track are the majority of intrinsic motivation. To start, I have a desire to work with at risk students and hope to provide them with a sense of hope. I feel that these students are sometimes written off by the education system, and the situation can be looked at as hopeless. I am motivated by the fact that I have the potential to make a difference in these students' lives. In addition, I feel the need to provide these students with the resources and support they need to work through the life struggles and get them back on track. Some students may not have access to these resources, as well as may not know where to access these resources. I am motivated to enter this track because I feel that these students are in need of guidance and I want to be the individual that helps them. Throughout this course, I have had the opportunity to assess different potential career tracks and feel that this track is the right fit for me solely based on the motivation I feel to help these students. While working in my future organization, I feel that I will experience situations where I need to use leadership skills while working with students, as well as situations where I'm working with my coworkers. There are a few different leadership skills that I will use to create a cohesive, safe, and supportive work and learning environment. To start, I will use my character as a way to communicate with the individuals I am working with. Trojani 2018 writes, I believe that the ultimate attribute of a leader is the capacity to listen, to understand, and to feel the needs, fears, and expectations of every team member. Without this, there is no reciprocal trust, and it is not possible to bring a team together for success. The children that I work with may have issues building trust due to their personal experiences. I can use my character as a way to form an effective line of communication and allow for them to build trust with me. Another leadership skill that I will use within my future organization is the ability to adapt to the environment. Adaptability will allow me to adjust my teaching and leadership styles to work parallel with the individuals I'm dealing with. It is important that I keep in mind the fact that every person is different and adjustments will need to be made. This skill will allow me to lead these individuals to the best of my ability, no matter the situation at hand. The first leader in my track that inspires me is Aaron Guel. Erin was a high school English teacher that entered her first year of teaching at a low performing school in a relatively bad part of town. Her classroom was full of students with delinquent tendencies, violent behaviors, and rough home lives. Rather than dismissing these students, Erin adapted her teaching style in a way that inspired her students to learn and create a safe learning environment for all. Erin inspires me because she was faced with a difficult group of students, but rather than giving up, she persevered and truly inspired her students to look at education through a different lens. The next leader in my track that inspires me is Victor Rios. Victor dropped out of high school in 8th grade and found himself spending time in juvenile hall by the time he was 15. He came to realize the importance of education and went on to graduate high school, college, and even receive his PhD. He is inspiring because he uses his personal experiences to conduct research and hopes to, quote, uncover how to best support the lives of young people who experience poverty, stigma, and social exclusion, end quote. Rios 2016. He is able to use his personal experiences to conduct research and create a way that helps students in the future not experience the same situations that he did. The last leader in my track that inspires me is Stephen Ritz. Stephen Ritz is a teacher in South Bronx, New York, where his classroom is full of majority of at-risk students. Ritz, 2022, writes that he believes that students shouldn't have to leave their community to live, learn, and earn in a better one. He provides and advocates for students in less affluent areas to be provided with the same learning opportunities that other students receive in more affluent areas. He inspires me because he works towards creating an equal education system in the environment he works in rather than dismissing the students and accepting that they will never receive an equal education. His efforts have truly made an impact on his students' lives. In my selected track of working with at-risk youth, both empathy and advocacy are crucial roles in the responsibilities I will have. I will implement empathy into my interactions with students as a way to create a warm and personal connection with them. Empathy will allow for me to get a better understanding as to what my students have experienced and provide me with the information about their backgrounds and development. While using empathy, it is important that I actively listen to my students and provide them with the opportunity to be heard. In addition to listening, I will enter any conversation with a calm demeanor. This will allow my students to feel comfortable in sharing information they want to share. By using empathy, I can understand the situations and experiences my students have lived through over the course of their lives. I will be able to use this information as a tool to try and understand the destructive behaviors that they may be showing in school or society. I will then be able to use advocacy as a way to get my students the necessary tools and resources they need to heal and work through these negative behaviors and emotions. I will advocate for these students to give them a voice in the education field. Like previously stated, these students can sometimes be dismissed by the education system, and I will be able to use advocacy as a way to fight for these students and their rights to have a fair and equal opportunity for education. In Chapter 8, DeSouza writes, noble goals activate all of the other elements of emotional intelligence because they shape our long-term choices and keep us centered in our decisions and commitments. The noble goals I have set for pursuing my track of work with at-risk youth include provide an equal opportunity for education to all students, and create a hunger for learning amongst all students. Looking at the first noble goal I have set for myself, I believe that every single child deserves to have a fair and equal opportunity for education. Although at-risk youth behaviors may cause them to be expelled or suspended from school, I still believe that they deserve an opportunity for education. I believe that through my future career, I'll be able to assist these students to work through the trauma causing these negative behaviors and inspire them to want to learn again. In addition, I believe that these students deserve second chances and should not be written off by the education system. When analyzing my second noble goal, I believe that students will only learn if they want to learn. I aim to create a hunger within my students for constant learning and development. If they enter the classroom with this mindset, they will be able to truly comprehend and retain the information being presented. I want my students to love learning rather than look at it as a chore, and I believe that I will be able to accomplish these goals throughout my track. These are a list of the references that I have used throughout my presentation. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to watch this presentation, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.